Yeah. All right. What's your favorite applesauce flavor?
Cinnamon applesauce.
Nice.
Non-sugar, no sugar.
No sugar.
No sugar added.
Oh, interesting. So just
Yeah.
pure cinnamon
Apple.
and apple.
Yeah.
Got you.
It's delicious.
I think that's my favorite as well. I don't know if I've ever had a sugarless one though.
Yeah, organic and sugarless.
Yeah. What do you have any issues with just the regular applesauce or?
No qualms with regular
Oh,
applesauce.
okay. I asked because Sheila and I were talking about it the other night, or no, this is yesterday. She had applesauce for lunch, or like a snack before lunch. She said it was really good, and I brought up the. Have you ever had like the Go-Gurt kind of applesauces with the where you like spin off the top and it's like a pouch and you just squirt it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Go Squeeze or something.
Yeah, the Go Squeeze.
Yeah.
There's a Facebook post I saw once where the mom like cut one open and there's just like a bunch of mold on the inside.
Oh God.
So if you ever have a Go Squeeze, be warned.
Maybe just don't.
Yeah, or maybe just don't.
Maybe just don't.
I feel like I still will. I don't really care as long as I don't get sick, I guess.
I mean, it won't kill you,
yeah.
right?
Mold? Yeah, I guess like cheese. It can make you really sick. Maybe
Yeah.
if you had some other precondition, you might get sick and you could maybe die.
That's a good pocket question, though.
Your favorite applesauce?
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty standard.
What's
though. I
yours?
feel
What's
it's
your
the cinnamon one.
cinnamon
yeah,
one? So
I guess
good.
like there's
Can't go
that one
wrong.
and the regular applesauce,
Yeah,
but
what are there's a raspberry flavor.
raspberry.
Yeah.
I feel like a banana might be good. I really love like banana kind of flavored things. That's my favorite Laffy Taffy.
Really?
Yeah,
You're a
so
rare
good.
rare breed.
That's what my coworker said. Like I was nasty for liking the banana stuff.
I don't think you're nasty.
I love the
Just
banana
rare.
stuff. Okay, I feel like me and my brother would always fight over the banana stuff though. So I feel like I was. Yeah, that's shocking. That's news. That's new to me.
That is new.
What's new with you? We were just kind of talking about it
Yeah,
before.
anything new? I'm trying to think. Just taking it pretty easy. I got a studio space, so I've been spending a lot of time just like cocooned in there and trying out, trying to sing really high notes and sounding really bad, but it's so nice because no one can hear me, so I can just like screech and squawk
So
until
like
I
a
get them.
recording studio space.
It could be. I think it could eventually be turned
Okay.
into that, but mostly just a practice space. And
Got you.
yeah, I mean, I've been.
Nice. It's hard to find practice spaces in Milwaukee.
I know.
It's so
I know.
tough.
It's so tough. It's so tough. And I've been waiting for this one for years, and it just like happened to open up. And
Is it the one in the neighborhood that I might know
Maybe.
of? Above that one venue we were talking about before?
Yes, I think
it's
so.
that one?
It's that one.
Wow. We almost got
know.
a spot in there,
Did
but
you?
yeah, it wasn't.
There's that
not enough
other one,
space.
the House of Rad. That one's supposed to be in River West too. Have you heard of them?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of the House of Red, but not. I thought it was a venue, maybe like a house show. Have they ever done shows there? Maybe
I
not.
think they maybe did. I
Okay.
don't know. I've never
Cool.
been, but there
House
are
of
the
Red.
other them. It would be cool if more of them happen because so many people are looking for them.
I know.
Luckily, we have basements though.
I
Like,
know. If you have a duplex and your neighbors are cool with it, you can get
Yeah.
away with it for sure.
well, and it's River West, so everyone's just kind of you just do it. You
That's
rock.
true.
Yeah, and do
That's
it.
true.
I guess Nashville. A couple of my friends moved to Nashville a while back, and no one has basements there.
Wow, really?
Really.
Just like it's like locked up, or they just don't have.
They just don't have
basements?
them.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's super weird. I thought it
So-
was weird, but
Where do a lot of those artists practice? Probably
I'm-
just in the living room. I'd
I'm
assume.
assuming they probably pay for a space somewhere.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Milwaukee is just so tough to find a practice space. We got one luckily in Walker's Point.
Oh,
which
nice.
We share with
Over-
a few other artists.
Is that over by the is it like in the warehouse and
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, in
Yeah.
the basement. I know like Paper Holland is over there.
Cool.
Ricky of Buena Cara is over there.
Hmm.
Yeah, a few different bands.
Shout out all of them.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think of more. Mason Matner is an artist. Yeah, it's
Such
fun.
a fun community.
Yeah, and shout out like Loud Library, Colin. I think you might know Colin, River West Colin. Yeah, I think they worked at High Dive. Colin played drums for a little bit in like The Girl and Lobie. Drummer Colin.
Did they also play guitar in Betsy?
Yeah.
For a little bit? Yeah.
That Colin.
Okay, sweet. Yeah.
They have like the rent space, and so we like hopped in. And, yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
Super
So we're talking about River West Fest, possibly.
Don't give away our secret.
Oh yeah. No announcements, but keep your ears and eyes peeled for River West Fest.
It is coming.
2025.
Whoa, no,
24.
like 20. What year is it right now?
22 only. It feels like it's 23 already.
I don't know. Time is.
I know. My brain is,
Still
I
trying
think,
to master
already
it.
wired for 23.
Yeah. Yeah, I really should get on it.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Like a matter of a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, but it'll be nice though, because if you ever mess up the 2, you can just keep it going to the 3. I always like think of that when I'm doing the dates.
I feel like
It's an easy one to cover.
I feel like I forgot the last 2 years have happened, and I've like written like 2020 before. Like recently, I was like, oh yeah, no,
I know.
that's not where we are.
2020 till now has just been one long year of
Growth
what is going
and
on.
healing.
Growth and healing
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that I'm at the age I am at when all of this is going down, because I cannot imagine being younger and not knowing a lot about just being in. I'm just so thankful I'm in a stable place of my life finally, about like knowing who I am as a person, whereas I wasn't so much before in the past. And I feel like with all that turbulence, it could be really chaotic.
Totally. But what I'm noticing too with a lot of people who haven't been on Earth as long, they are just bright and like starseed magic beings. Like especially I'm a nanny, which you know, but like most of the kids that I've come in contact with are just so developing so quickly and just already just magical.
Whoa, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
that's sweet.
I'm honestly super excited for the future even with all of its unknowns, because of like some of the youth that I've been able to be around and just how already they're just, you know, emotionally intelligent and just aware and asking questions. And yeah, I hope it keeps going. And
I really want to be optimistic with like that, and with the integration of like technology with that generation. So I feel like they'll have a much different perspective.
Totally.
And how are your kids with like technology?
Oh,
and stuff?
they aren't allowed at all.
Wow.
Yeah, like
interesting.
very like I'm not allowed to be on my
they're so
phone,
young.
and yeah,
Sure.
they're so
Wow.
young still. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think we're living at a time where energies are at an extreme where, you know, you have these super prosperous beings, and then you have a really great disparity, and I think that is just going to continue to be amplified the more technology and the more life that's lived and people evolving.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see so many miracle and magical things, and also like a lot of the opposite of that. And energy is just moving really fast.
Yeah.
There's no,
So fast.
so it's just really clear.
Woo!
Hold on to your horses,
Yeah,
kids.
right. Buckle up.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
it is. And I'm an optimist by nature, so
Yeah.
which can be annoying to some. Sorry, but I don't know. I gotta believe that some biblical miracle is on its way for all of humankind. You know.
I would think that maybe I read somewhere the other day that U.S. scientists have, and I feel like I always read the headlines like this, but they
I
never like
yeah.
no one talks about it ever again, but it was like US scientists have finally made this like nuclear fission where it is a big breakthrough in finding a source of energy that is renewable and something that can really change the world. Hopefully.
And you never know who's inventing what in their basement right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Ooh.
and like kids are so smart. Like there's that one kid who invented some kind of strange battery thing that you plug into your wall, and that like saves you energy your whole it like makes your energy bill go down astronomically.
What?
Yeah, and
I want one.
right, I'll take one.
What?
I don't even know what it was called. I couldn't quote it or even like send you to a place, but just like that's an example of there's so much like problem solving that is going to be done. I think
Totally.
you know
That's so
even like
exciting.
vertical farming. Have you heard of that?
No.
They're these architects that are building farms that spiral up instead of like over on grounds. It's like in a building, and like as it rains, it trickles down through the building. Yeah,
Totally.
so like I do
Why
believe in
hasn't
the
that even
human
been
spirit.
done before?
Yeah,
Especially in cities, I feel like that could
Yeah.
be something
Totally.
really, really feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's so much land that is
Truly,
needed.
it just really needs a shift in. Honestly, the people who've been here the longest, they are probably feeling the shift in all of this change from the youth the hardest, but like it really is just going to take them just trusting us a little bit more, I think, and it's happening.
Yeah,
It's happening,
for sure. In due time.
you know.
And I've always wondered too if like because our generation and generations below us have felt so much change in such short amount of time that when we're old and kicking it, that we'll be more inclined to, more open to change, which I think will be really cool and
Truly.
interesting to see when we're at that point.
Yeah. I tell everyone this, like, I don't think that our generation is going to be quote unquote old. I don't like that term, but
Sure.
I don't think that that's going to be a thing for us. You know, I think that we're all so integrated into wellness and keeping ourselves, you know, making good decisions. Well, most of us, I shouldn't say everyone. I'm talking big generalizations, but I don't know. I think there's going to be some really big health leaps happening in the scientific community, and yeah, I don't know. I'm excited.
Crazy. That's
I'm
exciting.
excited. Yeah.
I would love to live in, because I remember talking to you. Do you have a different perception of aging? And
I do.
like, is it like Earth rotations or?
Well, that's what okay. So right now we count our sun rotations. That's what your birthday is. Supposedly the sun is where it was when you were born. And so you count that as one. And I just think it's really strange that we do that. You know, like, I mean, it's one way to mark time, but if you got into a rocket ship and got blasted off from Earth, you wouldn't age as fast as people on Earth here.
That's crazy.
And I also saw
So like physically you wouldn't age as quickly?
I don't think so. And
That blows my mind.
I know. And it has to do with how far or close we are to the sun. I don't know.
Whoa.
I know. And I just read somewhere that, or like CBS or something published an article that the Earth is starting to spin faster around the sun than it was. And that if it continues on this path, they might have to invent a leap second. So meaning that we're just keeping track of like how fast the sun is going up and down. And I don't know, somehow we got obsessed with it along the way. Like we've like marked our lives with it and decided like, oh, well, I've had, 35 sun rotations. Now I should definitely be married and have kids. And
Right.
and we always want to know, like, specifically, I think in our culture, we want to know when females like we saw Jennifer Lopez on do that halftime show, and I'll never forget being in the room and someone in my family was like, how old is she? Is she allowed to be wearing that? And like, just, I just think it's really interesting how we've boxed ourselves into this idea of what age is and what it means, and like how we've decided to judge ourselves and others based on, and like ultimately like put each other in a box and decide like this is what you're supposed to or not supposed to be. And I don't know. There's a lot of fear around it for a lot of people, and myself included. And I just try not to think about it. I stopped counting, and I'm just trying to just live my life. And time has felt different. And I have this theory that if you stop counting it and thinking of it that way, that maybe even you'll age differently too. Instead of being like, oh, like around 35, I should really start doing these different things with my body, or
right.
If you don't know, then you're just living your life. And
right. If you don't box yourself into those constraints, like if you don't partake in most people around this age will get heart disease, and most people around this age will pass away.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Well, they say there's this like, well, this is the other part of it that I think is really interesting. Here in the United States, we follow the Gregorian calendar, and there's a play, and that's 12 months. And someone decided along the way, like, oh, there's 7 suns up and downs, right? That's 7 days in a week. And there's, 4 weeks in a month. And then that's one. And then sometimes there's an extra day at the end of that month. And sometimes there's a leap year. And there's only 12 months. And like, that's all someone decided that, you know, who decided that? There's a place in Australia, I believe, that follows the Ethiopian calendar, which has 13 months, and that follows the moon more. And it's only the year 2000 there.
Oh,
I know. So I don't know. It's all this strange. I'm questioning it.
Also, that thing in the news recently that South Korea is giving up. Maybe I should pull it up because they had been going off a different calendar, and they recently are changing it. So people in South Korea are getting younger by 2 years.
Oh, what? I mean, and then also like daylight savings time, we all just like collectively decide where it's an hour later.
I do agree that we should stop doing daylight savings for the sake. Okay, South Koreans are getting a year younger. Parliament rules.
What?
You're not getting younger unless you live in South Korea. South Koreans will soon become a year or two younger following official change to the country's age counting system.
What does that even mean?
Right. And baby born.
I love it. You can just
so
pull
it
it up
comes
right
into
here.
effect in June. Traditional Korean age system. Yeah, I don't know. It's goofy.
I mean, I think it's just something, just like everything right now, like rules that have been set up for us. Why?
Right.
Like Social Security numbers. Why?
I think it was just a mass collecting of just over the amount of years of human civilization of the astronomers and the more, I guess, the educated in the science, and it just all just grew and tumbled into what we know is today.
Right. But I mean, just because it is the way it is doesn't mean it's working and that it's helping us. Like,
sure. And I think maybe it had to do with just to box society in so that people are productive and that they do well. And like, I don't know, it's just so many different rules you could follow as far as like religion and then the country you live in.
There's a lot of people on this earth, and I guess they wanted to control them as many as possible. And
I'm a firm believer as long as you're not harming anyone else, I think you should be able to live the life that you want to live.
Truly. I believe that too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I there's a lot during the Black Lives Matter movement. There's a lot of talk about privileges, and and being in a certain race and what that means. And I just remember like being so sad and thinking like, first of all, recognizing my privileges and then being like, these shouldn't be privileges. Should be, I wish everyone could be taken care of that way. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait till that becomes the way that it always is. Like,
Right.
where it's not, because we're set up in a predatory system. The system itself feeds off of the individual, like think about it. The cops aren't out there trying to, oh, you have a flat tire, let me help you change it. No, they're out there trying to make money and like parking tickets and all these things. They're set up in a way that it makes it harder for us to human. Like, and I don't know. I just can't wait for it to not be that way.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that we are on that path.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
A big part of it's the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had a better answer than
I know.
Yeah, as we were talking about before, though, just got to stay optimistic about the future.
Well, and we have the opportunity to break the matrix in our own personal worlds. Like, for example, not keeping track of your age or being generous and giving and like that's breaking the status quo. Like anytime that you give something outside of the norm or do anything from this like place of love, you're creating a ripple effect, in your own life.
Yeah.
You're important. All of us are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is interesting to think of like what you said, like everyone's life bubble and the life that you live is, it's crazy to wrap my brain around the different perceptions and lives that every single person lives. It's a big thought.
Have you seen the movie? I haven't seen it, but I guess this is what this movie's about, that everywhere, everything all at once or something.
Yep.
Multiple dimensions just all existing.
Oh my God.
The same block, really.
Right. And you can I think, you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a good one.
I've heard people are like, you need to watch it.
I know. I watched it in theaters and I want to watch it again because the first time watching it, it literally is like the title, just everything everywhere happening all at once and just a lot going on.
Whoa.
So I would linger too much onto one theme and then something else crazy different would happen and I'd be like, wait, what about that? And just it's just a ride.
Yeah.
So I really want to soak it in again to, enjoy it more.
Really get it. Well, I want to see it, so
yeah.
it'll be a...
Have you seen
on the
any good
list.
movies lately?
No.
Yeah. Are you not a movie watcher?
No,
too much?
I love movies. I love watching things. I've been really pretty animate about playing music, and the only time I really watch anything is while I'm eating something. And
Sure.
I've been steadily watching the same seasons of New Girl.
Never seen that, but everyone says you gotta watch New Girl.
I love that. They're just so ridiculous and funny, and
Yeah.
it's like turning on having 5 best friends,
Sure.
while I eat dinner. Yeah, I live alone, so it's really comforting.
Yeah.
for me.
I used to have this roommate. I used to live with 5 other guys in college,
my
and
God.
our roommate Adam
So many.
would be in his room sometimes when we're all hanging out, and he'd be in there watching Friends. And we'd always just joke, and he's a big homie of ours. But when he'd be just wanting some alone time, we would just joke and say he's hanging out with his other friends. Oh, Adam's just with his friends. It was just this big joke.
That's great. That's
Just gotta
really
give him shit.
hanging out with his other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair
You been playing
enough.
some more music though?
Yeah, I just had a show last week at Vendetta Coffee.
Ooh, where's
Have
that?
you been there?
Uh-uh.
Oh, definitely go. Take
Yeah.
Sheila. It's gonna be.
Where is it?
It's right next to Enlightened Brewing, kind of over by Anodyne Coffee.
Okay. On the south side?
On the south side.
Nice.
Vendetta Coffee Bar. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
Okay.
But it's so beautiful in there. It's super swanky, so romantic, and
Sweet.
they've got coffee drinks and
I'm going to pull that one out too.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I want to see what it looks like. I've never heard
Yeah.
of it. Vendetta.
Vendetta Coffee Bar. Yeah, and it's got this like tiny stage in the front, and
Badass.
I think yeah, shout out Yonder, John Blair. He set it up. And
Oh my gosh. I want to talk to that guy. I've seen him play some stuff like
He's
on
so
social
sweet.
media.
Yeah.
Seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And I listen to his music and it's so groovy. I really like it.
is.
Yeah, I want to
Truly.
talk to Yonder.
Talk to Yonder.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Shout out Yonder.
Shout out Yonder.
Is this it?
This one right there, yeah.
Right here.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it looks. I love the kind of like older rustic kind of look.
Yeah.
Oh, those tables are interesting.
So
with that
cute.
kind of look. I love like the Walker's Point, South Side
Such a
area.
secret little nook. Like
It's
mean-
becoming more prevalent and popular. I know for sure, like around 5th Street and Fuel Cafe down there. Sweet.
yeah. So I just played that show on Friday. I don't have anything else set up. I was chatting with you about how to book a show.
Yeah.
I've got so many ideas. It's just a matter of like really pinning down the right ones and making them happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mostly
Planning.
do solo stuff then, I see? Or
I mean, ideally, I'd love to have a band. I was playing with a few people for a little bit, and they became the Speakeasy Johnsons.
Yeah, I remember.
yeah. Yeah, and are busy boys doing their own thing. I watched that little clip you posted with Isaac and about him being like talking about the three main things. Of it being a miracle to find those people and you know, I felt that deeply. Not that, I mean, love the Speakeasy Johnsons, but it was definitely like, okay, like coordinating schedules and like it all just kind of has, there's like a bigger magic that's involved with band stuff. Like you just kind of have to surrender to the flow, and I'm just kind of, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in a wonderful limbo right now and learning to hold that space by myself. And I want to get better. Like I want to be a better guitar player, and so that's what
your
I'm doing
solo
right
stuff
now.
is groovy. Today I watched your
you.
amplified session.
Aw.
It was awesome. Because I honestly don't hear you
Parker.
play live enough.
Yeah,
I know
I
you'll
mean,
come to the open mics every
here and
now and
there.
then, and I
Yeah.
won't see you play. And then the first time I saw you perform
Yeah.
really was for Shayla's birthday, maybe, which is surprisingly enough that it was that long, because you played, I think, with the Speakeasy Johnsons.
Yeah, I sang with
And
them.
you were up there, light in the room, up, dude.
Thank you, Parker.
Swear, my jaw like dropped when you're up there. You were
Stop. Oh my
killing
God.
it.
Thank
It was
you.
awesome.
Yeah, I love jamming with them. I do.
Yeah.
They're a powerhouse,
Yeah.
all of them. They like individually, and then when you put them together, it's just like wow,
a unit.
a unit.
Yeah, everyone was just grooving. You had like the tambourine or something
Yeah.
going on too.
I don't know if I did that time, maybe, but yeah,
Maybe one of
they
those times.
yeah, and I don't know. Like, I don't know. Do I just like show up to their? I don't know. Hey,
Yeah.
Speakeasy Johnsons, call me.
Yeah, were you kind of like ever like officially singing with them, or are
No,
they kind of their own?
I think if I'm remembering correctly, I was putting together like a few shows. People wanted to like me to have a band, and so I had a little bit of a fund to have people come and learn my stuff, and I chose those particular fellows or humans, and then they became their own unit. They're like their own thing. I think after the fact, after like,
Gotcha.
and you know, they are so talented and just have like an extensive understanding of music. So like what I am doing as an artist is, you know, I feel like was not enough to really showcase what they could all really rip and do. Like,
So as an artist for you, do you kind of picture like you being kind of like the main singer songwriter and then guitarist slash like, do you have ideas in your head with how the drums sound and how the bass sounds and how the whole music sounds as a whole?
some of that, I think my songs have their own ideas, and even my songs aren't, I mean, I don't know, I call them mine, but I feel like they're something beyond me that's just kind of writing themselves, and I'm just like letting them through. And I always just dream, and I am dreaming and trying and manifesting the people that are listening, you know, that want to play along and like are listening to what the song itself wants, you know, because each song has life of its own. So, I mean, do I have ideas of what the drum and bass could look like? I could give suggestions totally, but I totally wanted those specific people because I know that they have their own musical soul, and like I would I loved the way it all came together with and took my music and like exploded it in its own way. I mean, ideally, I think I want to release this solo stuff and see what happens with that and maybe tour on that. But ideally, I would love to have like a band that was just its own entity where we all sing it, we all write and write together and come up with stuff. And I don't know, there's something magic that happens when you just flow naturally. And
definitely.
Yeah.
And as like being like the main, because I can relate to that, and being a part of a bigger group with Jacob, Austin, and Kai, and they're all just so crazy talented in their own ways. And it's been tough to really like formulate an idea in my head too of like where Social Sig stands as a band / solo project / podcast / just an overall thing. And I've been very comfortable lately in it, whereas in the months prior it was just kind of like back and forth in my head of like really trying to put a label on it when it feels like it doesn't need a label, but then it does when it's intertwined with other things. But and just being communicative with the guys really, and allowing them to be creative in it as well, because they are creative individuals. But like I also want to have the final say in a way, but like there's never been a point where I'm like, oh, this like it's very communicative in the point where, and they 100% get like that. Specifically Jacob Slade, bless that guy, he's an angel.
Literal
just
angel
being
on
so
earth.
conscious and aware of like my creative endeavors of what I want to get out, but like also wanting to contribute, and just it's just a minefield almost, but in the
totally
tricky finding those people.
The people that are listening, you know, that are listening to your heart and to theirs, and like want to pull the best out of it, out of the song for the greater good, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I think you found that. I'm enamored with the people you've brought together and the charisma that you all have. Like,
it just happens so naturally too, what you said, like flowing.
There's a magic. There's like a magic around it. You can't force anything when it comes to music.
Right.
And you just have to surrender, which it's hard. I'm finding it hard to do. Well, that's not true. I want to use better words. I'm learning to be comfortable in this unknown time, because I know that everything will come together as it's meant to. And you just kind of have to let it be its own growing thing, and the right people will find you. And come find me soon, okay?
Right. And your solo stuff was really, really fun to watch in the amplified sessions. Just you and guitar. And have you ever, do you know Tash Sultana?
I do know that. Yes.
Like, they have like their whole setup with the pedals and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel I can see you doing something like that too.
Yeah, totally.
You know, in the meantime, before you find your people.
Exactly.
You know?
And I just got another looping pedal, so I've been experimenting with that, like having 2 loops going and just getting better in myself and holding that space. Yeah. I do love Tosh. Yeah.
Your voice is really phenomenal.
Oh, thank you, Parker.
Good. Very strong, crispy, and like it's coming
You're
from
so
like
sweet.
a deep place. It's really good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So if you're out there, check out. And I was trying to find some of your music.
It's hiding.
What?
I know.
What show? You gotta get it out.
I know.
But check out the amplified sessions on your link tree, because it was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the only place you can find any of the recorded things. I feel like I'm actively moving through my own resistances to like create things, and to be like captured in a way, you know, like I know it's just supposed to be like this time capsule and of where you are right now, but I just want to be like a better guitar player. Not that I'm bad. I'm not bad, but I just want to be, I know it could be better based on my own heart's desires. And like,
Yeah.
I think then I'll start recording. I do have intentions to do that. And
Which aspect do you think you can improve in as far as like,
very good
do you
question.
want more wine, by the way?
I'll have some more. Give me a little topper. I would love to like rip a mad solo.
Right.
I would love to be able to rip a solo. And thank you for the wine, by the way. So salud. And I mean, I can pull off a pretty solid rhythm guitar, but I want to get more creative in the way that I play rhythm, and just crispier and cleaner, and just be better overall, all around.
Yeah.
And then I'll be ready to be captured.
Sure.
in a little pokeball of
Learning and being comfortable in scales is something that I've lacked in, that I've felt that could use some improvement, because I think like I could feel you like saying I don't know, just wanting to fully, like what I'm thinking from my perspective is like wanting to fully like hear something in my head and like be able to just like play it without even thinking it.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would be a really fun point to be at.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We will get there.
You should hit up Isaac Rapinski.
Honestly, I saw a video of him ripping at your show, and I was like, I should really give that dude a call.
That moment was
really
so bizarre and insane at the show last weekend.
How did that show go?
It was so fun.
Congrats on another sold out show,
Thank
Parker.
you. Thank you.
God. The people love you.
Really stoked.
Yeah.
Really worked hard to just, because it's an opportunity. When I was talking to the bookers and the sound guy at the back room and everything, and just really grateful for the opportunity to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
So if we're given that opportunity, I'm gonna make the best of it. So
yeah.
The amount of people I messaged the ticket link to is just like, and if you got the ticket link for me and you came or didn't come, thank you so much. But yeah, just shooting it out into the world, and people came through, and it's so,
well, you're a
so
vibe
cool.
master, Parker. Like you just like send out the good vibes, and I think that attitude itself, the attitude of gratitude you got going on, I think that's a huge light, and people recognize that and recognize the light in you and want to be around that. And and you bring wonderful people together. Just
oh my gosh,
the vibes,
just a great night all around.
Cool.
I think being real with people too, just like, hey, like playing the show would be really cool.
Come
if you can, come if you can. It's gonna be fun. So
you don't want to miss out.
And there was a moment in Raspberry Blue where Isaac had come up on stage, and we practiced that he does like a guitar solo during when we do the introductions in Raspberry Blue. And so he had his guitar amp and guitar, and when he started playing, nothing was coming out, and he just kept like trying to turn stuff on, nothing. I whipped off my guitar and like gave it to him. And then he just rips this crazy solo.
Oh my God.
And we break into the last chorus, and I was able to, because we didn't plan for that to happen, but I was able to take the mic off the stand.
Yeah.
Jumping around.
How did that feel to not have the guitar itself?
Good. That was like the first time at a Social Sig show that I've been without a guitar, and it felt just that moment was
freedom.
I
can move my body,
I can do stuff. And before, like thinking about it, like I've talked to Jasmine of Bug Moment about this too. Like I've used my guitar as like such a weight and a crutch for like stage presence. So I'd be curious to get more into like the off guitar, I guess, just with the mic, but
free range.
Free range. That was just a little sliver of a taste of it, and I was really excited. So.
I mean, I'm sure you were a captivating front human. You already are with the guitar, but with it not being there, And we have so many people that just are so inspiring, like without like Jazz and Charlie are both that way where it's just
Oh
like,
my
wow, you just
Gosh,
amazing.
the stage presence in
The
Milwaukee
stage presence.
is
Yes.
woo.
Yes.
And like you said, we feed off of each other because we all go to each other's shows.
It's true. It's
so
true.
sweet. It's
Yeah.
so sweet.
Utterly inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you got stage presence from being a theater kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I got a lot of my jitters out early.
Sure.
I was in a pretty extensive show choir in high school. We had to be, in order to be in the choir, you had to be enrolled in 3 different choirs during the school day. And then you would stay after school for practice. And then you had to
Jeez.
also be in like taking voice lessons once a week from someone. And
Whoa.
yeah, it was really a lot of
What era of schooling?
the high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was super intense, but it was I got to be around 60 of the most magical singers,
Yeah.
and singing together with them was wonderful. But they also, like, we would do these things called projects where you had to develop a character from a show, and then like a music theater show, and then put on a show for like just like a little scene for the entire choir. And
Whoa.
so that was your homework. And
So you had to paint a picture, like sort of thing, as
So,
a
like,
character?
yeah, so like say Guys and Dolls. There's a song, each song you would perform a song from that specific musical. You'd get into costume and you'd just basically choreograph it yourself and find somebody to play the music for you, and you
Okay.
perform it for the choir in front of everyone.
Yep.
And you had to do that. That was like your homework. So
Like every week?
I don't think it was every week. I think it was
Okay.
like once.
Oh, like a project.
Yeah,
you're
a
saying.
project,
Okay.
yeah. And I think that and just being on stage really got the jitters out. It got you comfortable performing in front of
Yeah.
in high stakes situations. And
Especially if you're performing in front of all those other crazy good singers.
yeah, truly.
Gnarly.
Yeah, but it was a good petri dish to become something in.
Yeah, definitely. Which high school did you go to?
Arrowhead.
Oh, you went to Arrowhead?
I did.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed.
Really? Really? Yeah.
Wow.
Why? Why you say that?
At Arrowhead, I feel like I have a predetermined notion of their football program, and they're just lots of money in Arrowhead
Yes.
and Heartland in general.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have pre-notions of
Yeah.
not a lot of, I don't know, deeper thinking and like very caring. Well, I take that back. There's probably lots of caring people for sure. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Though?
Well, it definitely, moving to Milwaukee was it was a wonderful egg or shell cracker for me.
Shell cracker.
Shell cracker. Thanks for coming to our show,
Yeah.
Shell cracker. Yeah, just, I mean, it wasn't very diverse growing up in that area. And then, getting to know other people's ways of life. And it was not a shock, but like definitely an adjustment. And so I see what you're saying about that
Yeah.
area. There's a lot of,
But I also don't know a lot about that area. I did a lot of sports out there, and
Yeah.
a lot of the football guys. And
well, they just put like $1 million into their, someone donated. Just
Into
don't. Here's
what?
$1
Into
million.
what? I feel like-
Their football field. They've got like,
again, I
don't
Their
know.
football field's amazing.
it's amazing. I don't know, it's just like steadily getting better.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's a perfect example of what happens to a community when it has resources and like
Sure. Yeah. Lots of resources and support.
so much. And what can we just do that for everyone?
Right. Right.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, think of all the creative things that could be accomplished if we just gave humans resources,
Yeah.
just
Right.
invest in the people, like see what we can do.
And there's money out there.
There is. Just give it to us artists and these like the people. Like,
Something that breaks my heart is hearing a lot of these underprivileged schools losing their art
Yeah.
programs and their music classes. And I was talking to someone recently, I forget who, but they are a middle school teacher, and a lot of their curriculum is getting cut in like a inner Milwaukee school. And basically these kids only have, I might be getting it wrong, but like English, math, and science. Like their social studies is cut, and like other, I can't think of, like, programs are being cut. Like normal ones that everyone should have.
Dang.
They only had 3. I remember there's just only 3. And like, that's it?
Damn. I think it goes back to what we can do outside of structure. You know, like we don't need to rely upon this, you know, somebody else to tell us what's important. And, you know, I mean, that kind of goes full circle with what we were talking about earlier with like time. Like who decided that this is what you need to learn? You know, who decided that these are the things that we should be teaching everyone? Like there's no reason that that me, little Chabelle, should have been in a calculus class. Like that should have been
Right.
put that girl in singing and dancing. Like she doesn't need that much math, you know.
Right,
like
right.
there's definitely more efficient ways that we can go about
Totally.
educating our youth, and maybe this is an opportunity for, you know, other individuals in the community to create a structure for, you know, inner city kids or inner city for, how about just places that don't have it. And you know, we don't need the government to give us permission to learn things or build things. It would be nice to have resources, and I think they're out there, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it is becoming more popular for parents to enroll their children into not necessarily private. Maybe it's technically private. I keep hearing about, excuse my ignorance, maybe like charter school. Is that I don't know. Maybe like a different kind of schooling system that's not public nor like a very expensive. Maybe it's expensive. I don't know. But different options than public.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw a documentary of this community in Louisiana that like lived basically, like their houses all live above the water, or I'm not sure exactly where it was, but they all got together and decided what was important for their youths to learn in school. So in school they're learning like the proper fishing technique and like growing food, and like as a community they like took over how they teach their kids. And
was that like a result of the hurricane kind of thing, or is that just the community they live in?
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know enough about it to like really go into it, but I really like the idea of that applied to what we're talking about now. Like what if we decided as a community, like, yeah, music and theater and art is really important. Like we want to take our community of kids and teach them that.
Yeah. I always think it's really cool, like the art, complete schools that just really promote art. One thing that I remember my dad saying that he wishes the way my high school was set up. So I grew up in West Bend, and there was East High School and West High School, and it was in West Bend West and West Bend East, and it was one building with 2 high schools.
Okay.
Very like
weird.
Not a lot of schools, like really, really
That's weird.
twisted. The only thing that was really separate was the sports teams, and it was pretty much just built off of tradition, and just a ginormous building. And there was 2 libraries, 2 cafeterias, 1 office with 1 principal. It was just very strange.
Weird.
But technically 2 schools, so like 2 different graduations. We'd play each other in homecoming, and the way that you decided what school you go to is based upon your what day you were born on. So if you were born on, it's so wild. If you were born on an odd birthday, you went to West, and if the day you were born on was even, you went to East. And if your oldest sibling, I would have went to East because I'm August 10th, but my brother was West, so you follow the oldest sibling. And so
What is the
there's
logic behind that?
just tradition. That's how it always was, apparently. And so,
Humans, man.
yeah, strange. And so there was a vote when I was about a sophomore in high school to combine them. I feel like it gets brought up like every 4 years is what they say, if should we combine the schools or not. And my dad said that we should keep them separate, but if you want to do sports, like if you're really into sports, maybe like one school is all kind of about sports and other like trades, or maybe, and then the other school is like arts and theater and like more art based,
Interesting.
but then with some crossover in between with classes because it's one building.
Interesting.
Because there's two sports teams, and we'd always play each other at homecoming, and our football teams are always the lowest in the conference. Like, we could have really used the other players on each team, you know? But yeah, I always thought that was a cool idea.
I like that idea. I think there's a common theme to the conversation that we've been having, which is like there's a clear need for restructuring on multiple fronts for all of us to move forward. Like it's whatever we're doing could use some refinement, I think. And yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. It's still the two different schools.
That's weird.
I don't know if our football programs have gotten any better.
Do you know? Because I'm curious. Are there more people born on even days or odd days?
That's a good question.
And
I remember when I was like maybe a freshman in college, like after I graduated, you could start to choose like which one you went to rather than, I don't know. There were some rules that were bending, but I don't know.
Weird.
It would be interesting though.
Who decided all these things? They were just drinking wine one night and were like, ooh, what if they were born? If you're born on an odd day, you go to this school.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Let me write this down.
Sick. That's the new rule.
Yeah. And if their oldest sibling is at one school, the younger siblings follow just to keep it in the family.
Right. That makes sense. Let's make another strange rule.
I wonder when that started. Probably like 1900s, like early.
Damn.
I don't know. Yeah. Last night, me and Sheila were looking at this Instagram page that's like look at history or look back at history, and it's just all these bizarre photos taken like a long time ago with like really interesting things. And I can't really remember anything right now. Like there's this one, and some of them may or may not be true too, I guess is what the comments say. You kind of got to read through the comments.
Fact checking.
But they have a blue check mark, so I don't I don't know where that came from.
Instagram says they're official.
I know. I really dislike how whenever I see something that's like kind of factual and I read it off my phone on Instagram, for whatever reason, it's so hard to remember and retain for me.
Do you think that can be like attributed to like the nature of Instagram? Because you're like, focus on 5 seconds, focus on this for 5 seconds, focus on this for 5 seconds. You know, you're not really like, there's not really a lot of depth.
That's true.
And I mean, depending on who and what you're following, like there's definitely a lot of writers out there, and you can read all of their heartfelt things. But I think the nature of Instagram is like to keep your mind
just
flipping
random
through
things from everywhere.
Focus on this. Now this. Now this. Yeah. So maybe don't be too hard on yourself.
That's true. And I'm always just like, because I was telling you before, like at work, it's really nice to be able to do a lot of things in my downtime that I have. And maybe more often than not, too much of my time is spent like scrolling on Instagram. And I feel that it'd be more acceptable for like my boss to walk in and see me on my phone rather than seeing me reading a book. For some reason, I feel that way.
Interesting.
So I feel like if you saw me reading a book, it's almost like, oh, you're completely distracted. Like you're just reading I don't know, though, because I've never tried it. And my manager's really cool, so
Yeah, I
got
don't
me in my own
know.
head about that.
I can't say either way, but I see what you're saying. It's almost like more socially acceptable to be distracted with a phone.
Mm.
And I don't know, even taking that a step further in intimate moments, like when I'm having conversations with people and they like pull out their phone and like start like talking, I stop talking. Like I just like wait for them to be done. And they're like, what do you know, some people are like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, you went to a different place. You're on your phone, but some like it's like socially normal that to just like have this sidekick or like this space where you can just retreat to in mid conversation, and
I know.
it's interesting. I don't know, like
I felt I've always been conscious of the other. If in company, like I'm conscious
yeah,
of my company. If I'm like on my phone, I'll always acknowledge it. Like, sorry, I'm just like doing this or this.
yeah,
Even when my dad called
yeah, or
earlier,
it's my dad, yeah.
I remember watching this video of Simon Sinek. If you know who that is,
Mm-mm.
I'll have to send you this video. It's about 10 minutes long, maybe longer. But I remember watching this in probably about 2013. Before I feel even, I mean, around that time, the internet and like social media was nowhere near it as what it is today. Maybe it was, but different version of it.
Wait, what was the date Abe spaced out? Say it again.
2013.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely not the
Yeah.
same.
Like and maybe it was a little bit after that. Anyways, so he's basically at a talk and he's saying, I forget exactly who Simon Sinek is. He's kind of just I'm not sure who he is actually.
He's a human.
He's a human
on Earth right
and
now.
He sounds very logical, and he was just basically saying how humans are losing touch with almost the little innocuous interactions of like that happen day to day because we have this technology. So we're even just the idea of having a phone on the table, face up or face down, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You're giving a subconscious like message to your company that like you're not fully invested in this.
Yeah, or that if something more pressing happens here, I'm going to use my attention there.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And he goes into a whole bunch of different things, but it's really interesting. And at a young age, I remember watching that and being like, whoa, this is dangerous.
I also heard that we're losing our ability to be bored. Like, we don't, or, I mean, I go a lot of places by myself and I try so hard not to just like be at dinner waiting for my food and then pull out my phone. Like I've got a sketchbook and I try to color in that. I try to, start conversation with the person next to me. But I think that a lot of magic, especially in childhood, happens when you are bored and like the things that can come out of that. You have to be creative to deal with this like anxiety of what it means to not be actively engaging with somebody or something. And
yeah,
I don't know, like, I don't know. I think that's definitely something that kind of goes along with, it'll be interesting to see how we all evolve with this consistent social sidekick in our pockets, it's pocket really, god.
Yeah, literally. I feel I don't do that kind of separation enough. For the first time, I think it was around October sometime, I just went for a walk without my phone. And it was the first time, I think, in months / maybe years that I was more than like 10 feet away from my phone. And it was cool. It was really sweet. It was almost like weird because I almost felt like a little bit more independent because I'm not like, if something crazy happens, I kind of have to be more aware of my surroundings and more, I felt like
in your body.
Yeah, I felt more in my body in a way.
Interesting. That's super interesting.
Also may or may not have eaten some mushrooms too.
And
Not the magic kind.
oh, not the magic
Yeah,
kind.
not the magic
Oh,
kind.
okay. Well, I was gonna say the magic kind really has a fun way of making you be like, "What is my ID? What is these keys? What are these earthly binds that I have? Throw them over the bridge. Forget about it all. I belong to the dirt."
Yeah, roll around. It's like,
Yes.
whoa. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
But it was strange because I'm like, damn, I just don't do this enough.
My mom told me about a time when the phone in her house was the entire block shared the same phone line.
Oh, sure.
So they'd pick it up and, someone, Susie down the street is having a conversation. You have to wait until,
Right. Crazy.
yeah, like what?
Wow.
Yeah. And then there was like car phones, right? Like there was like,
Sure.
that was the first like mobile. It was like an actual, like it had like a cord and
How
was in your car.
precious. It's just so, like, aw.
And pagers, those were a thing, right?
I remember, like in some movies that you watch, there's like the big box phone, and they pull this string up, and it's like a big walkie-talkie.
Yes.
I wish I lived through that era.
Oh my gosh.
Almost.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
It's so strange to think about that and then where we are. That's I mean 30 years maybe? Has it been
Right.
less than 30 years?
Fast.
Yeah.
1990s. Yeah. Crazy. And I remember reading something today, even that was this, maybe it was looking through history, but it was this woman who had lived through the First World War, through the Second World War, until like today's day and age. And what a ride that must have been to see history change so fast.
It kind of gives you some
So slow, but so fast.
Yeah. As I say, it kind of
Sorry,
gives you some compassion for the people who've been on Earth a while because they've seen and been through so much. It's like, okay, I guess I can kind of see why you're stuck in your ways because you really have been through a lot of time that felt very different than now.
Right. Such a slower world.
Yeah. Yeah, and so many boundaries and limitations. One of my favorite things about the Milwaukee scene and being alive right now and being integrated in our scene is how tender and how open-hearted it is. If you want to, there aren't a lot of rules around what it means to be in a binary and like versus like male versus female, and like it's so accepting of all people and wanting you to just be your authentic self. And I mean, I think about my mom used to say, she was like, yeah, we got in trouble for wearing jean jackets to school.
Wow.
Got detention for wearing jean jackets. Like,
wow.
And like that was their rebellion, right? Like they grew out their hair and wore jean jackets, and like that was their way of like sticking it to change and sticking it to the man and being like, and now they fought for us in some regards. Like they paved the way for all of us to just, be able to do whatever we want and become whoever we want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of mind blowing just to, I don't know, like I can't imagine like what would some of the people that come to both of our shows, like I don't think we'd all be able to exist during that time. We would have been forced into a certain way of being,
Totally.
And I don't know, there's such a freedom that's happening in the youth and like people who are, our generation and younger. That's really to be celebrated for.
Yeah.
It's like such a win on a mat, like as far as limitation wise and what we're able to accomplish and
who you're able to become.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think like definitely some people in my family maybe would have considered dating someone of the same sex, if they had the opportunity, but because they were born in such an energy intense time, like you had to be a different kind of person in order to exist and fit in. And like, oh, you're in a male body, you must play football and do all of these things and become this idea of what, you know.
Yeah.
And that whole generation too got forced, I think, was forced into like, they like were introduced to credit cards. They were like the first credit card like generation, and then like it became very much keep up with the Joneses, like get that white picket fence. Like you can't, you know, work your bartending job till you die. You must get a real job and have babies, and like they're so sad. Like I see so much of that generation just like, and they're like fighting against their own evolution, you know, like they're fighting, you know, they're the same people that are like no to, you know, transgender things with the government, and like no to, but really in their hearts, they, if they had the opportunity to become what they wanted to, I think they'd be more open to that.
Totally.
I don't know. It's
like
really,
if they weren't shaped by the constraints of society in their generation.
Truly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
So
I feel like I remember reading something that was like that was saying that there weren't as many, there's like I'm butchering this so bad, but like the idea that there wasn't as much like trans or gay people back in the day. But then the comment was like, well, that society just didn't allow those people to become that.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, and they were around, they just had to have like speakeasies where they could hang out. And I mean, you literally, like, I think in like, you were arrested in some countries for being gay or for
even today.
Yeah. Like
Isn't that gross?
It is. It's sad. It's mostly just makes me sad, you know, like just let the people be, let the humans human. Like, why? I don't know. Why are we so afraid of pleasure? And like, why are we so afraid of like who we really are, you know?
Yeah.
And these limitless beings, really.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, only got hope for change and power in the youth, and
it is changing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It is. I mean, I like to tell this story whenever it comes up about like people being frustrated that, you know, things aren't happening fast enough. My grandma, God rest her soul, goddess rest her soul, love rest her soul, I don't know, whatever you believe, all those things, passed away during the Black Lives Matter movement. But she marched back in the day to keep people of color out of schools. And I am her descendant. You know, that's less than 100 years later. And I was marching in the marches to like liberate and support and to just really be about equality and love for everyone. And I mean, that's less than 100 years ago. Like that's less than a lifetime that stuff went down. And so like it is still reverberating through some of those older generations, but it really, I don't think it's going to stand on legs for too much longer. And there's a lot of hope.
Yeah.
There's a lot of change is happening. It's slower than we want it, but it is happening.
Yeah. I took a class in college that was, oh boy, what was it was like the history of, basically African American history. It was a really eye-opening class and interesting, and lots of good conversations. And I did a project on Val Phillips, who was she a congresswoman or not? Oh my gosh, very high politician in Milwaukee and huge proponent of women's rights and black rights. And she was a part of those marches with Father Grappi, which was, I believe they marched for over 200, maybe 300, 400, I forget what the amount of days straight consecutively from, I guess, the inner city over to the white neighborhoods. And it's so interesting to think about the streets and the neighborhoods back in the day because they've changed so much with the diversity. because I think the south side was very white, and I forget, but lots of the southern, like Milwaukee, was white, and yeah, fucking crazy times.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's interesting when you think about like the division of the neighborhoods and how that's, I mean, it's still present, but it's not really as much of a thing. Like you don't, I mean, it's still a thing. I suppose it's still a thing in some regards, and we're all doing our best, but it's not as much. Like River West actually used to be predominantly like German and Polish, I think. But we are becoming this like melting pot of culture. That's what they intended, and that's really what is happening. Is we're all just kind of absorbing one another's. And it's I don't know, we're in this funny time where it's like, what is my culture? What?
Right.
Who am
I
I?
love River West.
River West is my culture.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I'm River Westian.
Yes, exactly. It's
the
true.
River West 24 this last summer was the first one I experienced, and that was so much fun. Oh my goodness.
Talk about a matrix breaking event, like people put their like an astronomical amount of time and money into just so people can have fun. Like you don't really pay to be a part of it. Everything is kind of it's all just it's there just for joy and community.
Yeah. I've never felt that much like camaraderie within a community before than the River West 24. It was just people everywhere just having a good time. Like every block there was people like on their lawns just having fun, and there's people biking around. Yeah, it was a so really good time. Yeah.
I think that's a great example of like what taking charge of what community looks like, and taking charge of like creating community and beyond the structure of what already is. Because it really does just open it all up, and it's like a magic space. It's like a Burning Man in River West, like
it kind of felt like that, like some sense of anarchy. I can't talk
anarchy.
Today. I can't talk
that
ever.
Red wine's going down.
I can't
so
talk
well.
ever. Anarchy.
Yeah. Wine makes me that way. I don't know if it does for you, where it's just like words. Wine and weed does that.
I've been finding
words are hard.
say like, I can't talk tonight, but usually like most podcasts, I struggle with finding the right word.
Okay.
I'm getting better though. Getting better along the way.
Words are so fun, but also very wildly elusive. Do you ever get it where you're around certain people and you can't human? Where it's like something about your collective like co-created energy, you're just like
just a certain person.
Where you're just like and everything you say comes out kind of, you're just like I
never want to think it's like the other person. I think I'm more like, what did I eat? How much sleep did I get? How much did I drink? How much water do I have in my system?
That's so true.
I think I always look inward and blame it on myself and how I
like
can
that.
Change. But yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. How to human.
Yeah.
How to find, and it's fun to notice the people that it's really easy to human with, know, where like all of a sudden you're just like a chatter box, and you're like, where does this even come from?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, I think you're that way.
I was just about to say, I think you're that way too.
It's like super chill and easy to have a conversation with. And I do wonder about what's happening on the, like in the ether that I can't like function, and like why don't I have words right now? Like why did I just
discombobulation of brain fog and a mixture of a bunch of different other things?
Maybe I just need to do more yoga.
That's true.
Probably.
Usually I've talked with Sheila before about just your social battery. a lot of the times, like I've been getting, and she's been too, just kind of more aware of your social battery, as if like you're, especially after COVID and how like changed the whole social, like
slowed
being in
everything
groups
down.
is so odd. But being really cognizant of like, if you had a long day, you had a long day, and if you go out to a party, there's only so much battery of your social power and energy that you have to give, and so you shouldn't feel bad for being a little off and unsociable at all,
right?
You know, and just being really aware of what you're feeling
and what you're able to give, and when it's time to go and, you know, spend some alone time. I think COVID did that for a lot of us, you know. And I know social anxiety is at all-time high, but I don't know, I think it is about finding circles where when you are that way, it's just chill. Like there was definitely like a Halloween show where I showed up like at that point I had been to like 3 different Halloween parties. Like I had been partying like 3 or 4 days in a row, and like, but it was such a good show. It was at Bremen, and I just remember like my words just completely cut out, and I was like, and just I think I was talking to I forget who I was talking to, but they just were like, they put their hand on my shoulder and like hugged me, and they're like, it's okay. Just forget about it. I'm like, thank you. Like, just watch the show. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And being around that many people too that you know as well. It's like, there's always for me, the conception of like always like saying hi to everyone, and I just want anyone to feel, or no one to feel like I'm ignoring them or being like unwelcoming if I don't approach somebody, if I'm not feeling like doing it.
I don't think anybody would think that about you, Parker. You're so sweet. You do such a, you're a vibe master. Vibe master.
Vibe master. I love that. I've never heard that before.
You do.
Thank you.
Keep a good space.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk to you about was you've been in the Milwaukee scene for a long time.
I have been.
Like, what was the Milwaukee scene like when you had first come to Milwaukee and you were living? And what year was it? 'Cause I'm just so curious.
I would say is probably like when I finally, because I went to college and then, or because I was doing all that show choir stuff, and then somehow between high school and college, I was like, I can't do music theater. It's not for me, or like I got it in my brain. But then I met a friend who was singing their own songs. They were writing their own songs and playing at a local coffee shop at the Roast at the time. And that was the first time
The Roast on Locust?
The Roast on
wow,
Locust. Yeah.
I love that place.
It's so pretty
Best
in there.
chocolate mochas in Milwaukee. I will say.
Shout out the Roast.
Shout out Roast.
Yeah, and that was the first time I was like, you can make your own music. Like it just like occurred to me that was possible. And then like a few years after that, a friend of mine gave me a ukulele, and then I started going to Linneman open mics with some friends, and it was a huge folk revival then. Like,
what
do you
year?
know? Time, Parker, time.
I know.
2011, 2010, maybe. Okay. I don't know. Like
folk revival though.
Yeah, wow. We're talking like the Ugly Brothers, the wait, what was their name? The Fratney Street Band. Johanna Rose was really heavily involved into a lot of that.
Wow.
Who else was around at that time? Miles Coyne and the Rusty Nickel Band.
Okay.
Lousy Trouts. Are any of these ringing a band?
No.
Or a bell? Are they ringing a band? Yeah. They're all just like, it was like it was a folk renaissance, and I started there, and then met Lowdown Sound. They were Tiger Mouth at the time, and then they were like, come, and we started practicing together, and then that was my first band, and like that kind of like took me from this like huge folk revival that was happening, and I then became like this like more Grateful Dead, rock and roll, Allman Brothers vibe.
Lowdown
Sound. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they really changed a lot for me, and I'm so grateful. They taught me a lot about how to make my music happen. And Johanna Rose too, like they are a powerhouse themselves, and really like fronted New Boys Club. Do you know that any of that?
No.
Yeah, so it's been fun watching the different renaissances coming and like going and becoming.
Like the name that might be around a similar time, like Abby Jean, I hear about.
Abby Jean, she came a little later for me. Are they? Everyone. They came a little later. I met them through, I think, John Lenz and like that whole scene. So like then Lowdown Sound was together in my brain for like 4 years. We released an album, and then some of the members moved to Nashville.
Okay.
And then I met John Lenz, and like he kind of brought me into the scene as it is. Like I wouldn't know you if I didn't start jamming with John back then, and then met Tlaloc, and then that whole and then that became a whole new revival. There was like the Sunken Suns.
Sunken Suns.
Yeah,
I got a Sunken Sun sticker right on my window.
In fact, one of the first shows I saw was in this very room when it was room 808.
Wow.
Pineapple Migraine.
Yep. Joe's band.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to think of who else. Dog Bad.
Yep. Dog Bad.
A fellow Kingsman was still around. Cullah. Yep. I was in, and then I started a band with Jordan Taylor, Soul Abode, and I performed actually right there in this room.
No way.
Yep. At one of those shows.
Jordan is I know Jordan. Jordan is like a temporary fungi on
Yep.
Instagram.
Yep.
I chatted with Jordan at the Pap show. Yeah.
There's another wonderful person.
So sweet.
Magical. Well, and I feel like they all, I don't know where I would be had I not, John had like a jam for his birthday, and like I was like, can I come? And he was like, sure. And had I not gone to that jam, I don't think I'd be sitting here talking with you.
Was that the one? No, that was Tlaloc's birthday. I think that's when I met you.
Was it Tlaloc's birthday? I remember meeting you on the Halloween show at the Big Blue House where they had that album release, and I read your fortune. You remember I was in costume.
I'm pretty sure that was Tlaloc's birthday, no?
I'm not sure.
Everyone was taking edibles.
It was a fantastical time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I wanted to bring that night up to you.
That was one of my favorites. I remember clicking with you and being like, you're a good nugget. You're a good one.
Which that at the time meant so much to me. I remember being extremely anxious around that time and that show even too. I was doing a solo set.
Yep.
And
that was the first time I saw you perform.
I didn't know pretty much darn near anybody there. I knew Greyhound, who was DJing for a little bit, Dylan, but I was kind of sticking to his side a little bit. But everyone was so nice though. Like everyone there was so sweet.
High vibing.
I played the show, and then you had my fortune. And can I tell you what the question was?
Yeah.
It's an interesting one because till this day I think about it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. And I've only told a few people, but my question, because I believe you had asked me to think of a question and to hold it.
Something you wanted to ask,
Yeah, and my question was, is music really it for me? Like, is this what I'm here for? And I remember kind of being rushed when we were reading through because I was leaving. I remember
Yeah.
I think I was taking a boss home or something, and I was
Okay.
there and I
Okay.
was
Yeah.
reading and I wish I had taken a picture of it.
I
But
have the book somewhere, but I don't remember what the answer was. Do you remember?
I don't know, maybe page 80 something. That's
You
just
know,
shot in the dark.
shot in the dark.
But I remember it. What I had gotten out of it at the time was your path is due to change. And that has always stuck with me because I love music so much. And
Yeah.
I'm really, by no means has it ever deterred me from driving my full heart into music.
Hmm.
And it's been almost comforting because I do think of like my imminent disappearance from Earth, no matter the circuit, like whatever happens. Like I always think about that because I want to make the best of everything. But it almost comforts me because I know there's something else for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Well, I
Isn't that
don't.
wild?
I mean, if you would have asked that question outright, I definitely would have said personally my own thing. But at that moment, we were just letting the fates decide.
Yeah.
How I had done it that, or how I was doing it that time was you'd ask a question and then give me a page number and then a number between 1 and 50, and we would find somewhere on the page.
Yeah.
And that would be the answer to your question.
Yeah.
So
That's
you were
exactly what it was.
Yeah, so you were doing the choosing, and I think I brought up the book of Rumi, the poems of Rumi, and I think that's an interesting concept for you because you're wildly this vibe master that's bringing so many people together. But it's interesting to think about it in the long term, like everyone's path is going to change, and
Yeah.
I mean, and I think this again goes, I remember somebody saying to me, how long before it's not cute anymore, Shell? And this person was really a very intense person in my life. And what he was trying to get at is like, are you going to keep doing this music thing forever? Like, how long, like until like, we talk about age. And that's a lot of the reason why I don't like to think about age is because, will I still be, wrinkles on my face and gray in my hair in a house show, like
I hope so.
I hope so. I mean, I really hope so. I love house shows,
Yeah.
but like I definitely think about that in terms of, your path is going to change.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that music is ever going to leave you, but it may change. Oh, that's interesting.
Definitely.
That was your question, and then
And
that was
I think about it too. Like, I wish I took a picture of it. So like maybe I was just interpreting it differently, but maybe at the time the interpretation was all I needed.
Totally.
Well,
not. I mean, it is. That is.
Yeah. So I always kind of carry that with me, just as far as like, I know the world's got something else for me, and maybe it's the podcast, or maybe it's
whatever.
And
do you want there to be something else?
I mean, at this moment of my life, like everything I'm doing right now is like so fulfilling. So until it starts to shift, and I've gone through so many iterations of life as we all have, and I'm just welcoming it with full arms as far as like what I want to do and what I want to pursue, and
and just being happy in whatever comes. I think it goes back to that magic that we were talking about, that there's like there's definitely a force beyond ourselves that seems to be coordinating all of this in my mind. I don't know if you feel that way, but when you're presented with a new opportunity to become or play another role, to take it, they say like, you can't stay in the maiden phase forever, or like maiden mother crone type thing. And like maiden is like young. It's like the stages of what being in a female vessel supposedly is about. But yeah, like your role will change. I mean, and just like I used to be the kid that was playing, and now I'm the adult that makes sure that the kids are doing different things. I don't feel any different. Like I
Mm,
have more words and I've learned more lessons, but I still am playful in that way. But now
mm-hmm.
my role is changing, and
Yeah.
it's like very clear that it has changed, and it was, because my body got taller, and like
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
so just embodying whatever comes up and really being grateful, right? For
Mm-hmm.
whatever presents itself and what way that you can serve. It does seem like it's part of our control, but also like really not.
No,
Mm-mm.
I do. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. That was amazing.
Mm.
Um, Determinism, I believe we might have talked about this before. I remember learning this philosophy 101 class in college, but determinism is
Determinism.
basically that everything that happens is already determined.
Interesting.
Um,
Do you think
and
that's true?
it's a good argument, and I think philosophy is interesting in that there's a lot of really interesting theories, but nothing is like really concrete in philosophy,
Right.
which is, I think, philosophy 101 really like laid that out as far as like, I think I remember it clicking once when I like my friend Lindsay and actually Kai, who drums with Social Safety, we were all in the same class together, and we would like
Mm.
try to figure out like these questions and quizzes and stuff, and it really clicked when I was like, when you just really got to grasp the outer concept of it.
Mm.
And there's many good arguments in 101 because it goes so deep in so many different ways, but um, very fluid. And but basically, determinism is where the everything is determined for you, and that your life is already like all your experiences from the day that you were born, everything you see, everything you hear from your senses, and who you are as a person, kind of with like the nature and nurture kind of thing,
Yeah.
is already predetermined on how you will interact
Interesting.
with the world around it as like a big, almost like computer code. And
Whoa.
everything that you've experienced will lead you to your next thing and like your
Mm.
next decision and someone else's decision. And it's all predetermined. So that's
Do you believe in
interesting to
that?
think about
Do you
in a
think
way.
do you think
In a
there's like a
way.
room that they send your soul into and you like click through and through like a catalog and you're like, yes, I'll take bullying at age 5
Oh,
and I'll
sure.
take
Right. They could.
maybe
They could. Like we just live in
dad's
a
a jerk until I'm
simulation.
9. That seems right. Okay,
Yep.
and I'll take
An interesting theory I heard that's kind of like that is that your soul is basically you live your life until um you live you learn the lessons that you were meant to learn. And maybe that's predetermined by
mm.
somebody and something. I don't know.
The best part about this kind of conversation is there's no like yes or no or this is the way it is,
Right.
which is why it's fun to think about because
Right.
there's no rules.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's fun to talk about and think.
I mean, we're talking about the difference between destiny and free will and if there's a higher power or not.
And that's kind of the thing with determinism is if there's determinism, is there free will?
Mm.
If everything is predetermined, do you have the free ability to have the free ability to pick up this glass, or was that already determined?
I don't know. And I
Yeah, I
think
don't know either.
I think I purposely like do crazy shit just to like break the matrix, like sometimes I remember being at bars and like just like imagining what would happen if I just hopped on top of this bar and started like dancing and singing, like just did something crazy out of the normal just to like break what is supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
Is that
You're
predetermined
so
then?
crazy, Shao. You're so
So
crazy. This shit crazy.
Yeah, I fight back a lot of this. I call them my inner 5-year-old that's like, do it. Do it.
I think I talked to you about this like when we were outside of my house, like when it was warm once.
Yeah, I
But
remember.
something that I think about is, you know how there's different dimensions, and that there's this life is being lived a million trillion times over again in repetition, and maybe there's a version of this somewhere that um could be like where I'm sitting in that chair and you're sitting in this chair,
Oh yeah,
and like
multiple
just multiple
dimensions.
dimensions of like every
Possibility.
possibility,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
we're just in one of them. But my
Yeah.
argument that I've just like really thought of is just like,
Mm.
why do we seem to live, or at least in my case, like why do I feel like I live in the most normal, mundane one that like should happen with the laws of the universe right here in this
Societal
universe at
laws.
least? Like, why am I not in a, like in everything everywhere all at once, there's a universe where everyone has really long hot dog fingers. And like, do we seem to be living in the most normal, like why is it that
Limited, maybe.
there hasn't been a instance in my life where a dragon will just appear from a portal and be like, get in, get in,
It's time.
you know?
I mean, I feel like I'm perpetually waiting for my Hogwarts letter.
Right. Literally.
Um,
Who's to say that's not in this dimension, you know?
I mean, there's a lot that I've experienced in my life that makes me think that it is possible, and that it is there, and it's just a matter of our wits growing smarter, and the right things said, the right, street taken, the right. It's just a matter of the, not right or wrong, depends on your intention, but like it all unfolding the way it needs to, and your intentions around it. I don't know why. I've heard also, this kind of goes along with it, that Earth is one of the hardest realms to exist in. That it's with its lag time, like anything you wish and are wanting for, it takes a long time to become. You plant your seeds and it takes about 9 months for them to manifest, depending on who you are and your own personal will. But they say that your soul, or I've heard the theory that your soul comes here to learn the lessons, because you become so much stronger because of the limitations that are forced upon all the beings here, whether they're of this physical world or like the mental things that we all face. Maybe in some dimension there is a dragon and you're like a dragon tamer, like you're channeling that in some way, like, and we're all it's all connected. I don't know. But for now you're here and you're learning to bring the magic to the mundane and create that in your everyday. For the rest of us, we're doing it together.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, thanks to the Milwaukee scene, it feels lighter. Like this scene specifically, like with Social Sig and Scam Likely and the Speakeasy Johnson, like our whole collective, like all of us, like this is the most light and like tender and just like exuberant time that I've personally ever been a part of. Just the vibes are top notch.
Wow.
They are. And I think that that's attributed to everyone that's in it. And going back to, there may not be dragons that we can see, but there's definitely like a mythical wonder in my mind, because I feel like I have experienced a lot of different realms and a lot of different groups, and been through a lot of different experiences where like there's absolutely magic present, and it doesn't mean like bippity boppity boop magic, but there's like
Spelliarmus.
Exactly. I don't know. Seeing at the last backroom show, seeing Charlie be like, I'm gonna crowd surf, and like that just like broke a whole matrix. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, just like that is magic, and like it is happen. I think it does happen, and it's not a dragon appearing, but like what if it is like ethereal fairies that we can't see that are like slowly unfolding this magical time for us,
Yeah.
It's fun to think about, at least.
And like the magic of ideas popping into our heads.
Yes.
And I've heard of many conversations of like, where do ideas come from?
Where do they come
You
from?
know?
Where do your thoughts come from?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Which, yeah. And
I
I
don't
think
know.
all of our thoughts coming together with all of our presences and is what creates Milwaukee scene for what it is. And
Truly.
it's so fun.
It's magical.
So happy to be in it, you know.
Really. Special nook of the universe.
It'll be so cool, like to see where it goes and what new bands coming in,
Yeah.
new bands. It's interesting to be here finally. Particularly after COVID, I feel like I really got involved with the scene. But particularly not having an idea, kind of like what you were saying when you were first introduced to the scene of like, oh my gosh, there's people that are playing their original songs in a basement to a bunch of fun college kids and people, and
And everyone is just beautiful, like and it has nothing to do with like physical appearance, just like beautiful beings in and inside and out, and like what is created when all of those beings come together and like that space. Like I remember Shayla's birthday at Bremen, and it was like it was the first one where they had like a you were on the bill. They Betsy
Art Floyd
played.
was on there.
Yeah.
Dwayne was on there.
Dwayne was like Speakeasies was on there.
Yep.
And I remember just like standing in the back of the room at one point and just feeling high. Like granted I was drinking, but I wasn't smoking, but just feeling the vibe itself just like lifted me, and just being like, wow, it is like, is literally popping. Like just it, and all those energies coming together to be a thing. Like it is breaking this matrix and creating possibilities.
The energy that has been at Bremen specifically in that back room and even outside of the bar on that street sidewalk. There's been so many moments where I've just felt so thankful and proud to be a part of this scene. And it's almost like, look what we're creating.
We are.
And look at this space that is beautiful and just so accepting, and like, you could be whoever you want and no one gives a shit about.
In fact, they just want you to be authentic and your best, whoever you want to be, just become it. Yeah. Such a blessing.
Should we wrap this up?
I don't know. I feel like we could talk forever.
I know.
It's like 2
just for the sake of the space on my phone. We can keep hanging out.
No, that's cool. It's if it is time.
But awesome. Thank you so much, Shell, for having the time to come over here. And anything you want to plug?
No plugs for me. If you want to put me on your show, I'd love to be a part of another show, solo Shell. And no shows planned at this point, but no plugs. Thanks for having me, Parker.
Yeah. Was that a solo Shell as in south of Locust Shell, or
No.
singular Shell?
As in, like, I don't have a band right now. It would be a solo act. Put me on your
For
put me on your
context, we were
bill.
talking earlier about south of Locust in River West is considered solo.
Yep.
South of Locust. That's
And
cool.
north of Locust is Nolo.
Ah, okay. I like that.
Yep.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shell. All
Thank
the
you.
love. You
Yeah.
are such a light in the Milwaukee scene. Every time I see you, it's so wonderful, and I know a lot of people can say the same thing.
Aw, thank you, Parker.
Thank you, Shell.
It's been an honor, for real.
It's been fun.
Yeah,
Let's keep it
so
going.
fun. Yeah. Party.
And bye.